Jack, can you stand over here? We need to be able to see Jack. All right. We are live. All right. So, what is up, guys? It's your boy Drew Schaefer back with another video. I've got my good pal, homie, dude, friend, Johnny Schumann here. Johnny's a Canon guy. I'm a Sony guy, but we shoot pretty much the same stuff. You know, concerts and stuff like that. We've been all over the world together. LA, Mexico, you name it. Our dads are actually good friends, and I'd say Johnny's one of the best photographers in the city, if not the Midwest. So I'm just gonna kind of like pick his brain. He's gonna pick my brain a little bit. We're gonna see what's better, the Sony A7R3 or, where's your camera?
Cut. Thank you.
All right, Sony A7R3 or the 5D Mark IV Canon. All right, you wanna say it?
Let's go to the intro.
Yeah, all right. Roll intro. You want a Timbit? There's like one left.
Out of this, yeah.
We eat Tim Hortons on this show every time, right, Jack? Yeah. All right, guys. So we're back with the homie Johnny Schumann. He is a concert photographer, like I said before. He also does travel stuff. We've had some crazy times. Before we get started, I'm just gonna kind of like post right here some of his photos. I'll let those like kind of fly around while we're talking. I would definitely check him out. I'll link him down below, and I'll also link the cameraman behind the camera, Aiden Minton. You can't see him right now, but he's helping us out tremendously with this video. Jack's also back there being a little, he's not worthy of being on camera, but all right. So anyways, Johnny, why did you start with Canon? What made you choose Canon?
Okay, so my first camera I had was a Canon, and it was my mom's old camera, and I ended up having it, and it was a Canon 80D. And I ended up getting a bunch of lenses like I have here. So when I wanted an upgrade, I decided just to stick with Canon so I didn't have to rebuy all the lenses and stuff like that if I were to switch to Sony or Nikon or something like that. So yeah, that's why I shoot Canon. And why do you shoot Sony, Drew?
Kind of similar reason. Like my first camera was actually like a Canon T6i, but like obviously that thing is a thing of the past. But then I got this, my A6300. I loved this camera, but it was also time for an upgrade. So I got the Sony A7R3. I really love the high megapixels on this. Your camera and my camera, like when you start zooming in on a photo, man, like
it doesn't break down.
It just doesn't break down. Like if you're going for like print photography, I'll throw up some of my prints like while we're talking as well.
We actually have a picture that looks the exact same.
Yeah, we should compare. That's cool. All right, so we both shot Odessa. Probably like what, one of the coolest,
and we were this close to each other.
And there's a point in the video that I took where you're like, you can hear me go, holy. Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, it was sick. There's fire and fireworks, whatever. We took, by accident, the same photo.
The drummers might have been just a little bit different in your photo compared to mine, like just slight, but like literally looked like the exact same scene.
But I'll put my photo here and he'll put his photo right there, and you guys can kind of like decide which one's better. Mine. But no, anyways, Johnny is a photographer and I'm a photographer, but I'm more like keen on like the video aspect of this camera, and it shoots 120 frames per second, 1080, also shoots 4K, which I really like. But his camera also shoots 4K, and I got to use it once, and I thought it was really good. But what is one thing about Canon that like you're most surprised with? Honestly, like the build quality of your camera compared to mine, I think is like so much higher.
See, I guess you can't, the grass is always greener, but I like how mine is sturdy, but like packing it and stuff is not as good as like I imagine packing this, because like it's so bulky and like.
Yeah.
But if you drop this, I haven't done it before, but I'm sure if you did, it would have a lot better chance of surviving than this camera. But it is a lot heavier. If you pick them up, mine is definitely heavier than his.
We actually have the weight here. I wrote this down on my skydiving logbook. Anyways, my camera weighs in at 23.2 ounces. Johnny's camera weighs in at a heavy 1.76 pounds. That's a big boy.
Yeah.
But build quality, I think on a Canon might have the advantage over the Sony. It's a 0.1 for Canon on that. My camera, I've dropped it a couple times. This guy, the build quality, like as great as it shoots, the build quality on the 6300 could be a lot better, but you know. But anyways, so Johnny, we shoot a lot of the same stuff. We use different kinds of lenses, different aperture lenses, all that kind of stuff. What is your favorite lens? I see you brought a bunch of your lenses here.
I'd say my favorite lens for like the concert photography and stuff is probably my Tamron. I've used it the most with at concerts, just because
like a 15
it's like a 15 to 30. It looks like which is a very wide angle, which is good to capture like big scenes, stage shots, crowds, etc.
Yeah, check this thing out. This thing is beefy. If you think a camera weighs a lot, no, this lens
These
weighs
things
a
together
lot.
would,
like
it's hard to hold.
Like that's his favorite lens. This is my favorite lens, and the difference is just, I mean, feel that.
I mean, yeah.
It's wild. Mine's like a f1.8. What's this? f2.8. f2.8.
Okay.
You see that, Aiden? f2.8 there. You were asking. He was
go.
asking earlier.
So I like that also because it's good for concerts are usually pretty dark, so you can lower the aperture and you don't have to suffer in the ISO. You have to bump the ISO up as high, which causes grain, obviously.
Yeah, so when we're shooting concerts, I like the lowest aperture as possible. Like my best one for that is my 1.8. And then you've also got some prime lenses here, it looks like.
Yeah, I have a prime 1.8 aperture, which is, I like this a lot. It's good for portraits, and it's 80 millimeter. So yeah, this is very good for portraits. And then this is kind of like my do-all lens. It's 24 to 105. It's kind of
that's
just
nice.
For everything.
Yeah, that's really nice to have like that. Just like you could go anywhere, but
right.
It's the f4, which
is
kind of holds it back
right.
a little bit. You want to get that aperture as low as possible, right, Jack? So we're gonna just kind of go down the specs of it. Like I said, I wrote it down because like what human can actually like remember that word for word, unless you're a nerd like Jack. All right, so we make fun of Jack a lot, but it's all in good fun. He's cool with it, I swear. You've known Jack.
I've known Jack since U9 soccer.
Yeah. He's actually in his prime. He's peaking. He's peaking right now. Anyways, so my camera has an in-camera stabilization. Yours does not. But when it comes to video, like you want in-camera stabilization, but since Johnny's more of like a photographer, having that in-camera stabilization might not be like as important. But this lens here, which is my favorite one, it's a 24 millimeter 1.8 Zeiss, is not stabilized, but his lens is stabilized, so it kind of like, evens out, you know what I mean? How often do you have the stabilization on your lens? All the time?
Yeah, I'd say all the time, since like you said, it's not built,
built
into the camera.
Yeah. But with your lenses, are you more of an autofocus guy or a manual focus guy?
I'd say if it's fast and on the go, I'm more of an autofocus, because like things are coming in, and like, for example, sports or concerts, things are kind of like all over the place. So you don't really have time to like, there's happening like this. You don't have time to play with the focus as much, and you're moving. So like that obviously messes with the focus. So I'd say for sports and concerts, I'm more autofocus, unless I can find an opportunity where like there's just like it's frozen or something like that, and then I can snap one in manual. But if it's more portraits, I'd say I'm more manual focused to create my desired effect.
Yeah, like autofocus, that's a big tip. Always shoot in autofocus, in my opinion, for like video or photos. But obviously, I think when you're going like more of the portrait route, manual focus is a little better. I would say, just because like you want that like crisp.
Right.
You want to make sure it's like on there. You want to like make sure. But let's keep going down the list. All right, so we both sell prints. Like I said before, you've sold some prints. He's made more money than I have selling prints. Just prints though. I don't know. Who do you think makes more money?
You.
That's right. Anyways, all right. So
off this, yeah.
I've made like $1
videos.
Off YouTube.
Videos.
Oh, videos. Yeah. Photo. I don't. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so we both like sell prints online to people, our friends, our family, and megapixels is like a big part of that, because you want to be able to blow up the image as much as possible. Have you ever had a problem like blowing up an image with, his has 30.4 megapixels, my camera is 42.4 megapixels, so like I've got like a 10 megapixel advantage. But have you ever had a problem like blowing up an image with this camera and you're like, it could look better, or do you always, or are you like, wow, this is amazing?
I've honestly been pleasantly surprised with how well my prints have turned out when I print them. I think your work looks a lot better when it's printed, but I really can't remember having a big issue printing, like blowing it up, even when I've shot in high ISO or anything like that. I think the biggest thing I had was like colors, but like that wasn't even that. I've only had that for one photo I can remember.
Yeah, and I've seen some of your prints, and did you do that metal print at your parents' house?
Yeah.
Yeah, start printing your photos. It's really rewarding. You can't see it, but like I've got one over there, I've got some up there. Johnny did a really cool thing at his parents' house that I saw, and it was like printed on metal. How did you do that?
Honestly, I didn't do it. My dad saw one of my pictures. He's like, I really like this, and he put it on metal and put it in the house. But yeah, it looks a lot like that even too.
Was it a? It was
a Columbus
pic.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like really really illuminates your pictures, like the colors and everything like that. Printing on metal does.
That's just wild. Printing on metal. I did it in college once, but it didn't look as good as his for obvious reasons, because like I was.
That one's good though.
Yeah, that one's not bad. It's like a foam board thing though.
Oh, it looks like metal for some reason. Honestly, does.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so one thing that I don't like about my Sony is it doesn't have any CFast cards, but it does have 2 memory cards available on it. I noticed your camera, you can run CFast through, which is kind of nice. CFast, if you don't know, is just kind of like a beefier SD card, like higher, like what, megapixels per second?
Yeah.
Megabytes per second.
It's not very friendly. I don't know. I've had problems with it. I haven't used it a lot, honestly, but putting it in a computer, it's caused me a little bit of issue. I have to get into it more. I have to understand it more, but I don't know. I've had some problems with it converting it into the computer.
He has complained about it in the past. Yeah, that's been an issue.
But you might know more about it. So
I mean, Sony just doesn't like really like carry that. I mean, the dual SD is nice, but in the future maybe like a smaller CFast card.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be cool to like just kind of mess with. But all right. Battery life, that's kind of a big deal. How long do you think you can shoot photos like with one charged battery? You're shooting all day at a festival or for an artist. How long can you shoot for?
This is tough because I'm not quite sure, but I would say like 3 to 4 hours maybe, like consistently or like on and off.
Just like on and off.
I'd say I could go maybe close to the whole day.
Yeah.
Like 3 to 4 hours. What do you?
I do remember us doing an event. We were shooting Electric Forest for an artist named Corrupt. We were shooting it, and I remember just like with my 63, I'm over here like, oh, I gotta change my battery. And you're over here like, oh, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
And I'm like, crap. I do think the battery life on the Canons is a lot better, but obviously with this was
But
not
you
as
also
great.
shoot video, so I feel like that might factor into it, because I'm kind of just like, and then like you're kind of like filming everything.
That's true.
The camera's
Video,
always on.
Yeah. And video obviously is going to take up a lot more memory than photos. And we're shooting in RAW, which already takes up a lot of memory. But I think with the Sony A7R3, they really beefed up the battery. Like if you look at this battery, here, let's compare batteries.
I think Jack's got mine. Jack?
Oh, thank you.
Oh. Well, there we go.
Oh, okay, go. All right.
They're about the same size, I think.
All right, so we're comparing battery sizes. All right, so the 63, this is the 63 battery. How's that muffin, by the way?
Good.
Good, yeah. All right, so the 63 battery, pretty small. Then you go into like the A7R3, they redid the battery for Sony. And let's compare these. This is where it really counts. They're honestly,
Yours is a little thicker, I think.
yours is like a tad bit taller and a little bit wider, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like obviously like the bigger the battery, the more like battery life you can save. But how many batteries do you usually carry on you like at a shoot?
I have 2 usually on me. Yeah,
I don't.
2 batteries.
I usually use around 2 batteries. There's no reason to like kind of go over that. So I know you're not like big on video. You're more of a photographer, obviously. But how about your microphone in your camera? Like, have you ever used it? Do you know what it sounds like?
I think one of the first times I used it was when we did that jazz band or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What was it called?
Oh my God, what was that called? Gotta start small, people.
Yeah.
Start small, and then you will work your way up. Right, Aiden? Right. He's over here dying. He's got an exam or something.
Can't quite remember the name of the band, but anyway, I remember it was like my first time shooting video. And I thought you had the film, so maybe this is a question for you. You had the SD card.
I did.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like too bad, but
Yeah.
to be honest, the in-camera microphone on his Canon, I think, sounded a lot better than the in-camera microphone on my Sony. But to be fair, I never use the in-camera microphone on here. It's like right here. I always use my Rode VideoMic Pro when I'm using that kind of stuff, or I'm like laved up or whatever. But as far as like microphones go, I would say Canon's got that beat. All right, so this is a big one. Price tag. Johnny's camera comes in at a cool, cushy, big price tag at $3,000. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a hit to the bank account for sure. But yeah, it's definitely more expensive, but I think it's a great camera. So it's hard to find it that much cheaper, and it's the camera I've always used, so I didn't really feel like I had a choice. It was like upgrade or save the money and upgrade or
die.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like on B&H right now, we checked before. Jack checked before. He's our stats guy. I actually checked. It was $3,000 on B&H. My Sony on B&H right now costs like $2,800. No, $2,798. And that's just interesting because your camera came out in 2016, mine came out in 2017. So you would think the newer camera would cost more.
Yeah.
You think that's Canon just being stubborn?
I don't know. I feel like Sony's on the new wave, so like I feel like everyone was Canon before, and like Sony's offering just as good, if not better, cameras for a lower price. And I just have been seeing a lot more photographers when I'm at these events using Sony, and yeah, the new mirrorless stuff in Sony seems to be like the new wave. So
yeah, the mirrorless on this, like, come on.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to say it, but personally, I might upgrade if I could. I would change to Sony.
I think that's a check.
I think I would.
Sony.
I think I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just won.
I don't know. I don't know if this was ever an argument. I don't know if this was ever an argument.
Yeah, when I asked him, I said, "You want to compare like the Sony A7R3?"
I knew this was what it was going to turn into. I mean,
yeah, right.
I know which camera's better.
He does.
Yeah.
And he literally, I was like, "Yo, you want to like compare cameras?" And he's like, "What? You want to just like make a video where Sony trashes on Canon?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be kind of cool." But like overall,
Canon's really not bad though. It is a
really
good camera.
not that bad.
Yeah.
There's plenty of guys that use Canon. What?
Yeah.
The 1DX is like, it's kind of hit its prime though. All right. Who's texting me right now? Leave me alone. All right. Yeah, the 1D is like kind of hitting its mark. Like I think it's like a 20 megapixel camera, and this is like double. So like for portrait stuff with a 1D, I don't know if that's like a great move. But plenty of guys use the 1D, like Sam Corder and Peter McKinnon.
Right.
Plenty of guys use that kind of stuff. But personally, I'm like a Sony guy. But both cameras are full frame, just so you know. Full frame cameras. You don't get that 1.75 crop that's so annoying. I really didn't like the crop with this camera, and then your ADD was also
it was a crop.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that was really kind of like.
I even had to buy a new wide lens because of the crop. That was like I had to rebuy a wide angle lens. That's the only lens I've had to rebuy.
Yeah.
Doing the switch.
I remember you doing
yeah.
that. You're like, dude, I can't get that wide.
Yeah, because it would. Yeah.
So annoying. All right, so Canon builds himself on like having the best autofocus in the game, but honestly, like
I don't like the autofocus as much. I haven't looked at through a Sony lens or eye hole or anything like that, but I just feel like my autofocus kind of jumps around everywhere, and sometimes it's like dots here and dots here, and then other times it's like down. I don't know. It's just kind of picks and chooses.
To be honest, I've never had a problem with the autofocus on this thing. Now, I was using A7S II, and I thought the autofocus on that was trash, right?
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, you shot on this not too long ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the video that's being shot is actually on an A7S II with
My camera.
his camera with the trash autofocus. But like this A6300, I thought blew the A7S2 out of the water. But honestly, like I've never had a problem with autofocus, and Canon prides themselves on it, so it's funny just to hear that like, you don't think.
I
it's that
mean,
great.
maybe I need my focus reset or something, but I don't know. It's obviously not that bad, but like I'd like to see it compared to that.
Yeah. We'll have to do like a more in-depth side-by-side image to image thing.
Right.
This is just episode 1 of photographer versus photographer. We might even have another episode, or not episode, but like series. We're gonna have another series called videographer versus videographer. Maybe we'll compare me and Aiden's gear. Who knows? I don't know. Stick around. Any last things you want to say before we sign off here?
Oh, no. I think Sony wins is what I will say. I think
I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay, this camera sucks. All right, this camera beats this thing and everything.
It's bigger, but bigger's not always better.
It's how you use it. All right, it's how you use it. Just to reiterate, this is 10 frames per second with photo. It also is in-camera stabilization. I think the color on this is amazing. Maybe not as good as a Canon when it comes to portrait, but it does shoot 4K. It has 1080, 120, which is so important, so important. The autofocus, I believe, is the best around. The mic is beat by the Canon, but if you attach an external mic, then it's like, it doesn't really matter. It is an E-mount for Sony, and it's a full frame camera. It weighs in at 23.2 ounces. So that is my review. Overall, Jack's not even a camera guy. We're not even gonna show his face, but what do you think? Well, if Jack, you're buying a camera tomorrow, all right?
Jack's just
You're buying me some Timbits, and then you're gonna buy us a camera. Jack's got the company card, he's swiping, all right? He's like, I'm in on this. What camera do you want?
Sony.
Sony it is, people. The nerd. The nerd wants a Sony. Hold on.
Parker.
What camera do you want to buy? Parker wants to buy an iPhone. Never mind.
He said Nikon.
He said Nikon?
Yeah.
What'd you say? Ew. He said Nikon. That's even worse than... Yeah. But to be fair, the Canon is not that bad of a camera. I still think it's a beast of a camera. The build quality is better than this, obviously. It's a little bit more waterproof. But overall, if I'm going to buy a camera, and if you're a videographer / photographer, this is the guy to go for. Thank you guys for watching. We're all out of Timbits. We don't have anything else to share because Aiden and Jack decided to eat them all, and you ate like half your muffin.
Mm-hmm. So we got this to share.
Everyone take a bite. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I don't even have to say it. Don't be doing all that annoying stuff like maybe subscribing or liking this video or disliking this video if you're like Jack. I say that in every video. Thank you guys. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
Buddy, pal.
Yep.
Me and Johnny are the same age. Our dads.
I think he just stopped it.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't. He didn't stop it. He never stops it. Our dads are the same age. Funny story, my dad was like, yo, my son's a videographer. And his dad's like, they're playing golf together, and your dad's like,
I remember this too, like,
yeah, it was like
three or four summers
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, well, my son's a photographer. And they're like, well, they should hang out.
Yeah.
And we did. We started shooting the same DJs all the time, festivals, it was really fun. But thanks for coming, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Maybe we'll see you guys in another episode. And will we ever know what Jack looks like? Back to you in the studio. All right, that's cut. That was good.
That was that? Oh, well.
I'm going to make fun of them. I'm making fun of you guys for sure.
Jack hat front or back? Back.
You've been shooting at 30 or
24.
24.
I never.
In case this
I either
goes,
shoot at
case this
24
goes international. Yeah, I got to keep that to the back.